Welcome. Today we're looking at the sun, the glorious, wonderful sun, but we're looking at it spiritually, its role in planetary and personal healing. We know that without sun, we would not exist. It's the force of all light and life on our planet. And we know for ages and generations, the sun has been worshipped by many different groups of people. Zoroastrians, the great Ra, the god of the sun from Egypt. And we know that the sun is part of that which gives us happiness and light and well-being, because we feel better when we're in the sun. It's interesting though, science treats the sun like a ball of chemical composition, but today I'm going to show you that the sun is far more than that. In the words of William Blake, "You tell me the sun is a round bronze disc the size of a penny, but I tell you, oh no, the sun is a host of angels singing holy, holy, holy Lord." And so I'm going to show you that the sun is a host of angels ministering to us individually and collectively. And so let's begin to look at the mystery of the sun. In our system, the solar system, the sun is as a god. It is the star, it is the source of all light. And in light there is life, and in life there is breath. And in all life there is the spiral creative motion of the universe. So the sun is literally symbolic of the divine force throughout our whole universe. And literally, it functions to minister to our solar system within our universe, because of course there's suns in other spiral systems and universes. But certainly within our solar system, it is the center of all life and force. And if we think of the sun, it's hard to represent it spiritually, but here's some really beautiful descriptors of the sun spiritually. It's showing the sun has two motions, magnetic and electric. All of divine energy moves on the ingathering, the feminine, and the outgoing, the masculine, the centripetal and the centrifugal. All of creation. It is the way new life comes into beingness. So here when we see the sun here, we see it in its centripetal motion symbolically, and here in its centrifugal motion. And so if you think of the sun, it has many kingdoms. At the heart of the sun are the divine kingdoms, and there are 7 planes within these divine kingdoms, and each of these planes represent one of the great colors of the Elohim, the creative spirits that we see symbolically in the rainbow. And then, this is where the great divine beings live. And then, of course, there is this beautiful space, which is represented here by a golden ring. And then we move outward from the center of the sun to the celestial kingdoms, where the great celestial ones dwell. So many of the great teachers, spiritual teachers that have come to the earth have come from these celestial realms in the sun to bring back knowledge of wisdom and life and light. And then, of course, this second gold thing is another protective magnetic field containing the celestial world and protecting it. And then we had the angelic realms. Now, long before the fall of the earth, the angelic realms also have their 7 planes with their 7 Elohistic spirits of creation, just as do the celestial and the divine, but in accommodation to the angelic realms. These planes stretched outward to encompass the earth, and the earth was literally surrounded by angelic beings, and the children and the teachers and the healers in this earth. And all of creation was nurtured through the sun via the divine, celestial, and the angelic ministrants. And then there was the great chromosphere and photosphere of the sun that reached out. And it held the earth in its true magnetic field, so that the systolic and diastolic creative motion could energize life and create beauty. And the beautiful things we see in nature and around us were all the result of this divine energy. And then what happened? There was the fall. We've all heard about the fall, we've read about it, but basically the planetary system was knocked off its center. And so the sun couldn't, to manage this, had to withdraw its photosphere, its chromosphere. So great was the fall that eventually the withdrawal, all the angelic kingdoms had to be withdrawn right back and kept safe here in the outer rung of the celestial realm. And the earth became bereft of angels. But the sun, of course, has accommodated its ministries to heal the earth, and it has done this in many ways. It now focuses its energy in the equinoctial periods, that's the spring and the autumn equinox, to purify the earth and to throw out from the earth all that is not of the light. And I read this very beautiful little descriptor of that process of healing. So we're in a period of great turbulence at the moment, but we need to celebrate. It is the sun's work healing. The great sunspots are great fiery balls of light energy to purify the earth and get it back on course, to move its magnetic planes back to alignment in the sun. And so it is the day of divine triumph. The pent-up solar energy has been liberated, and soul is able today to pour into the heart of the planet that which has been withheld for ages. When you look out upon the disturbed conditions, remember that these are the effects of the solar energy. And in like manner are all the people affected by the changes taking place in the kingdoms of the planet. But the disturbance will work out unto the healing of all. And that's from the quote from Herald 12 from the Reverend John Todd Ferrier. So what we see around us is this amazing healing of the sun's energy coming to bring the planet back to light and truth and goodness. And so when we think about the sun now, we should look upon it as a great spiritual being that's working to the healing of our system on a daily basis, and it's really intensified now. The angelic realms and heavens are being restored, and they're moving closer and closer to the planet, beginning to circle it once again as it was in what we call the Edenic ages. So our hearts should be full of hope and joy at this new coming, although the process of purification will be a little turbulent in the next few years or so. And let us think now about the sun within ourselves, because we in our constitution are microcosms of the macrocosm of the splendid sun. We too, if you these days you can look at these magnificent images of the egg and the sperm meeting together, and they create a spiral dance. The systolic and diastolic motion, the electric and magnetic motion of the universe. And it is conveyed through the breath, the divine breath moving through our being. And as we too, our will becomes polarized with the light. And we long to be one with the light and with the truth and with goodness and beauty, compassion and kindness. So too do the planes with us begin to heal. And our 7 planes begin to take on the polarities of the light. And so there are many planes we must work through to achieve this. And gradually we will move through the spiral of our being as it becomes magnetically aligned with the divine light from the sun. We will move through the human to the angelic, to the celestial kingdoms. And eventually that splendid day will dawn when we will stand on the threshold of the divine kingdom here in this innermost circle, this magnetic circle. And then it is that our whole being will be interfused with the light of divinity. And our whole centers, every part of us, will become radiant with the light of the sun. And we will become clothed as it was, clothed in the sun. We will bear the garments of our sun because every part of us will radiate that light so splendidly. We will become as a sun for healing in this world. And you've all heard of that wonderful image of the woman clothed with the sun in the Apocalypse. And it's a sign of the healing of the earth. And this is an attempt to demonstrate that, which is always very difficult in art because we're talking about very sublime principles. But this is your destination. Yes, not today and not tomorrow, but it is coming upon us. It is within our vision that we can go to this higher state where we are again a son or daughter of the eternal light. And now let me read you a brilliant description that's poignant and soulful of this great event. And I read from The Mystery of the Light Within Us by John Todd Ferrier, and I read, "The woman clothed with the sun is an event of celestial significance, and one to be experienced only by the soul who has entered upon divine Christhood. It represents the triumph of the soul along the path of ascensions, as it is risen from kingdom to kingdom and glory to glory. It signifies that the soul has risen to be a citizen of the sun in high degree, and that through its own solar center, all its powers can be and are affected. It indicates that the soul has acquired the power to receive direct from the divine kingdom, the magnetic stream, that the influx of that stream has raised it up to the rank of a son of God, that its solar orifice is the venue through which the influx proceeds to flow out into the spiral and through the various planes, affecting the magnetic pole so greatly that its action results in the soul becoming clothed in the auric magnetic solar light. And our whole being is radiant with the sun, clothed with the sun, and our feet stand upon the moon, which represents the illumined understanding. And we bear the crown of the 12 stars, which are the 12 stars of the Mazzaroth, known as the zodiacal signs. These zodiacal signs are influenced by the sun as they move around it, and other great staral systems to which the sun is related. And so let us not forget, as we walk and we enjoy this beautiful sun, which brings to us even today healing. It gives us the ray we need, the color we need. We don't have to do color therapy. We just walk into the sun, and the sun ministers to us through the angels of the color we need for that day to be healed and to be strengthened. And knowing that it is happening right now at a daily process, and that the sun is the greatest ministrant to the healing of this planet and to each one of us individually. And so let us celebrate that we are indeed children of the sun, and the sun is our spiritual and planetary healer and great divine ministrant. And I'd just like to reference that these beautiful paintings of the woman clothed with the sun and of the sun were done by Amy Todd Ferrier.